Hi guys, it's Mandy from Mandyleeplays, and in this video, yet again, we are doing another Before You Buy. And this time for Tales of Berseria. It's no secret that Bandai Namco is doing this whole big project where they want to remaster or remake all of their Tales games for modern consoles. And it was not that long ago where I did my Tales of Xillia video, so they're really going non-stop with these remasters. And honestly, I kind of love it. This Before You Buy serves as a guide to let you know about everything you want to know about the game and what new things we will find in this remaster for Tales of Berseria, and ultimately if it's worth the $40. If you found this video helpful, then please hit that like button and consider subscribing if you're not yet subscribed. I would appreciate that, and also hit that hype button if you want to. So let's dive in. First, let's start with why is this game so controversial? Well, Tales of Berseria is a really recent Tales game. It was the game that came before Tales of Arise, and I actually have a copy for it. It came out for the PlayStation 4, and while I do have the game, I never played it. But yeah, this is why a lot of people are not really feeling this remaster, because it's so recent, especially when you have older Tales games that they haven't really touched, the games that actually need a remaster or a remake. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate a bit here, because I don't agree with all the sentiment. So basically, I feel like while it would be nice if they remastered an older Tales game, I feel like when it comes to Tales of Berseria, they wanted to get that over with first, and then use that extra time to work on an older title. Think about it. At the rate that they're releasing these remasters, they probably need more time for the really older ones. And let's be honest, Tales of Berseria is probably more easier to remaster because it's so recent. So that probably had a hand in choosing which one to do next. But again, at the rate that they're releasing these things, but that's just what I'm thinking. I don't know what they're thinking. Although if you haven't played the game, then the remaster is a good place to start. So regardless of the controversy, the fact that new people are getting to the series is actually a very good thing. Unless you're a gatekeeper weirdo, then get out. So with all that out of the way, let's now move on to a little bit of history regarding the development of Tales of Berseria. I'm just gonna give you the cliff notes though, because it's a lot. Although not officially stated, it is really heavily implied that Tales of Berseria was kind of an apology for Tales of Xillia. And actually, Berseria is a prequel to Xillia. When I was looking into this, I was kind of shocked by how many people did not like Tales of Xillia. I don't really know how deep that went, but essentially, the game wasn't up to, the standards of a Tales game, and a lot of people didn't like it. Longtime producer Hito Baba, sorry if I mispronounced that, was essentially demoted because of Tales of Xillia, which kind of sucks for like a game doing bad, but he then joined Square Enix, so that's good, I guess. Although he did recently leave Square Enix. And there's more backstory to all this, but I don't really feel it necessary to this video. But yeah, long story short, Tales of Xillia was a disaster, so they wanted to try something new to shake up the series. So when it was all said and done, Tales of Berseria finally released in 2016, to much more praise than Tales of Xillia. And it gave Bandai Namco more time to really develop their next game, which turned out to be Tales of Arise. Although I wish they could speed up, the whole development cycle a bit again, because like Tales of Arise has been out for years and we kind of need another one. Alrighty, now that we got that tidbit out of the way, let's move on to the consoles and the tech specs. For the consoles, like many of the other Tales remasters, it's coming out on almost every modern console, except for the Switch 2. My guess is they probably didn't have a dev kit for the Switch 2, but then they released Tales of Arise for the Switch 2, so they obviously have a dev kit for that. It's weird. You can still buy it for the Switch 1 and play it on your Switch 2. It's just not a Switch 2 game. So besides the Switch 2, it's coming out for the PlayStation 5, the Switch 1, the PC, and the Xbox. And that's one of the big things I love about these remasters. They're essentially available for anybody on any platform. And also, big thank you to Bandai for actually offering a spec sheet of the different consoles and how they run. This makes this portion a lot more accurate. Alright, let's start with the Nintendo Switch. So for the Switch, it runs at 1080p docked and 720p handheld. at 30 FPS for both. Although there is a footnote that says it could change depending on the situation and environment, the frame rate is probably higher when they run a cutscene or something, kind of like how they're doing for Tales of Arise for the Switch 2. And what's more confusing is this is a clear case of there should have been a Switch 2 variant because the Switch 2 is more powerful. I honestly don't understand companies. I really wish they were kind of straightforward with their stuff, but they're not. But again, you could play the Switch 1 version on your Switch 2. I've said that before, but I just want to emphasize that so I don't confuse anybody. Moving on to the PlayStation 5. So for this version, the game plays at 4K 60 FPS, not for the Xbox Series X and S. For the X, it runs at 4K 60 FPS. For the Series S, it goes up to 1440p at 60 FPS. Now for the PC, as always, I'll put the minimum and maximum specs over here. As for me personally, I'm getting it for the PlayStation 5. Now for the Steam Deck, currently the game is listed as unknown. They're probably going to update it when the reviews start coming out. And I will post a editor Mandy note here if it's a green check mark or a yellow. So let's finally get into the actual game with the story. So it's not a secret that this Tales game was supposed to shake up the series in a different way. And in that aspect, they did. So in this story, we follow Velvet Crow, a young woman whose peaceful life is violently shattered by a horrific event called the Scarlet Night. It's a ruthless event to cure the world of a plague that twists negative human emotions into literal monsters. Velvet's trusted brother-in-law, Arderius, I probably butchered that, sacrifices her younger brother in a brutal ritual. Broken by these horrific betrayals, Velvet transforms into a Therion, a creature capable of consuming other monsters. So this story is basically a morally gray character kind of adventure before that was really popular. Because nowadays we've seen a lot of games that go that route where your protagonist is not all goody two-shoes. But this one did it, you know, a little bit before the whole trend started, which was a bold step, and hey, it worked out for them because a lot of people liked it. But for Velvet, turning into this monster gets her thrown into this desolate island prison where her hatred festers even more. Isolation makes hatred like literally grow like a fungus. So the fact that this disease goes after negative emotions and then they put you into prison where you're isolated to just stew in your negative emotions, I don't know, that's probably not the best way to cure this thing. Although she does finally escape, no duh. And her mission is not, you know, finding the source of this and fixing the ill will of this world. No, she's on her own mission, a personal mission to get her revenge. And her target is the betrayer. And this person has risen in the ranks to someone with power and is now called the Savior. Yeah, I hate this guy already. And this is the Artorias character that I was talking about in the beginning. Yeah, he's the one now with power, the one who sacrificed Violet's brother. And this Artorias fellow establishes the Abbey, a militant religious order built to suppress emotion in favor for cold, calculated logic. This game, I like it. I like it a lot based on the premise because emotions run high, especially negative emotion. They breed so easily. And I don't agree with how this guy wants to take it where everyone needs to be cold and logical because emotion is needed. There's actually something called positive emotions. Such a good game to come out nowadays because there's negative emotions everywhere. But moving on. The big baddie is enslaving magical entities because, of course, to fight against the monstrous plague, to ensure the emotionally sterile thing he's trying to go for. Wow, now I'm really excited to play this game. It's a well-grounded story, and while yes, there's magical stuff, I feel like the themes of the game speaks to me and to a lot of people. And Velvet herself, even though she's not the stereotypical hero, filling the mold of a more anti-hero than a hero. They did a good job with the premise of the story, and I'm really excited to play it myself. This game is an action JRPG, but like every Tales game, there's a lot of mechanics to play around with. The game's combat system really ditches the traditional gameplay we've seen so far, in favor for a more aggressive JRPG experience. If you're somewhat familiar with the Tales franchise, you know that the core staples are gonna be there. The real-time combat, the colorful art style, and the heavy focus on combos. All those staples are in this game. So in many RPGs, you usually have a mana pool which you could pull from to use your magic attacks. But in Tales of Berseria, they wanted to try something different. So let's introduce the Soul Gauge, which is this blue diamond icon on the character gauge. The number of souls you currently hold dictates exactly how many attacks you can string together and use as a combo. But your character does need to pause and recover. If you stun an enemy, exploit their elemental weakness, or defeat them, you steal their soul, which expands your combo potential. However, enemies can also steal souls from you too, though the big mechanic of this game is the overdrive system, similar to how they did it with Tales of Xillia. But for Tales of Berseria, it's called the break soul. So the way they work is basically intentionally spending one of the souls you have collected, your character will perform a unique action. Doing this instantly resets your combo counter, breaks through defending enemies, and restores a small amount of health. In Velvet's case, using a break soul transforms her arm into a demonic weapon, but there's still the staples like burst darts and mystic arts. So the gameplay to me in Tales games are something you have to learn throughout the game. It's not just hit the button, do the combo. No, there's a lot more that goes into the gameplay, and sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's a bit overcomplicated, but now that you know a little bit about the gameplay, let's move on to the quality of life changes that you will see in this remaster for Tales of Berseria. I love me some quality of life changes, and this game has a ton of them. First is the grade shop, and this feature was already implemented in the Tales series, but it was given when you do a new game plus. But with the remasters, you are given the grade shop when you start the game. So for those who don't know, the grade shop is basically modifiers that you could put on your game to make it more easy and to give you certain benefits or perks. For example, double experience. Now the grade shop could break your game if you wanted to, because the game will be really easy, but some little ones help a lot, like double XP, more gold, and discounts on your items. The next thing is there's objective markers, which, wow, I am surprised a game out of the PlayStation 4 era didn't have that already, but okay. Next is the new icon. So it basically tells you what new items that you just picked up. Now me saying it sounds pretty silly, but in Tales games, you get a lot of items, and in the past it didn't put new, so you didn't know which one you got first. But for the remaster, it tells you which items are new, and it makes the menu hopping way more easier and simpler. And also it tells you the locations or where you need to be when it comes to the sub-stories. And also fast traveling items have been altered, so you can fast travel really early in the beginning of the game. Though in Tales of Xillia and Graces, you could just fast travel with a button. I'm not sure why you need an item in this case, but okay. Alright, so this is getting a bit long, so let me rapid fire some other quality of life changes. There is autosaves. You can turn on or off the encounters, and you're allowed to skip dialogue. So it's very similar to the other remasters from Tales of Graces and Tales of Xillia. Now time for the extras. This is where I put points that didn't fit in any other category. So with this new remastered edition, you also get all the DLC costumes that you had to pay for in the original version. You get the pirate costume, the school day costumes, the maid costumes, the fairy tale Alice in Wonderland themed costumes, the Tales Legacy costume pack, a lot of costumes. Although, like, the licensing costume ones are not gonna be there. Next, if you get the digital deluxe version of the game, you will get the Battle BGM pack, a digital art book, and the Super Growth Support Herb set. And if you pre-ordered the game, you will get a set of battling items like apple and peach gels, along with life bottles and panacea bottles. So yeah, that is it for today's video. And let me know if you're gonna get the game or you're just not that interested. Let me know in the comments down below. If you found this video helpful, then please hit that like button and consider subscribing if you're not yet subscribed. You can follow me on my socials in the description down below. I hope you guys have a wonderful, beautiful rest of your day, and as always, play a good game. Peace.